Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be looking back at SummerSlam 2023 from last night. We're going to be going over some of the moments that I liked and some of the moments that I didn't like. Now, to me, I thought this was, this show could have been a little bit better, but I feel like some of the fans need to, all the fans need to take some blame as well for returns-wise. It's like some people go into shows not even caring about the matches, they only care about returns. And it just kills me. It's like, this card looks good, right? But people care about returns and all that. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you have to go, if you go into the show expecting a return, you've already failed watching the show altogether. Now, you can be hyped for it, but you watch the show for the matches that are on the card. I don't understand why people do that. It's a pet peeve of mine. But but what wasn't bad was Ricochet and Logan Paul starting off the show, which it was great. It was so awesome. Logan Paul is just so good in WWE. He fits in WWE like a glove. I know I don't really like Logan Paul outside WWE because he's involved in a lot of controversy, but inside the ring, it's hard not to like Logan Paul when he puts on performances like that. And a lot of people like me predicted that Logan Paul would get a win over Ricochet. I think, like I said, Logan Paul needed the win. And I still think Ricochet, this is a big moment for Ricochet, to have a match at SummerSlam to really elevate him. And Logan Paul just needed this win to prove that he isn't, like, if he lost to Ricochet, do we really care about Logan Paul now? But I think Ricochet is I can definitely see that Ricochet is going to be on TV a lot, which is great in the Triple H era. And also, Samantha Irvin wasn't that happy about Logan Paul winning. I can tell that this rivalry isn't going to be over based off Samantha Irvin's reaction. This is going to be a rivalry that's going to carry in, and I really like it, because a Ricochet and Logan Paul rivalry is definitely a long-term rivalry. Two high flyers, they've got so many ideas, and I feel like this is a rivalry that I think should be going the distance. And after the way that it ended, Logan Paul needing help from one of his henchmen, I certainly think this rivalry is going to be lasting a month or two. Next up was Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes. This match going on second, I thought was a genius move. I thought it was I thought this was going to be like maybe the co-main event. I thought Cody and Brock was just going to be right before the main event, but I was wrong. And I somehow maybe thought that the women's triple threat was going to be earlier too, but it wasn't. Brock dominated Cody for the most part, and also Cody just came out in the drip. Brock dominated Cody almost his whole match. The announce table got shattered by Brock Lesnar putting Cody through the table, and Cody had to pull a Super Cena to win. Brock Lesnar put Cody Rhodes in the Kimura lock. Cody Rhodes put Brock in the Kimura lock. It was back and forth. And then Cody Rhodes ended up winning. He hit 3 crossroads and won. But obviously, Rhodes hit Brock with the steel steps. And as you guys may know, that is a DQ. And there are some booking decisions that were weird. But personally, I'm not a huge pet peeve of how Brock and Cody ended. I know a lot of people don't like it. But, Cody winning is what mattered to me. I knew that a Brock and Cody match wasn't exactly going to be insanely good, but for what it was, I probably would watch it again. It's certainly their first 2 matchups were a little bit boring. I thought this one was much more watchable than the other 2. I don't know if it's just because the crowd was into it, but overall, I think even though Cody sort of half cheated, I guess it doesn't matter. As long as Cody won, I was going to be satisfied with it. And he ended up winning. And Brock ended up lifting his hand up afterwards, which was an unscripted moment. Triple H said it. A lot of people are saying it. Which, if it is, Brock Lesnar is such a professional. You can kind of tell that Brock Lesnar had fun with this rivalry with Cody Rhodes. You can tell that Brock Lesnar was into this rivalry with Cody Rhodes. And this is a perfect moment to officially not only turn Brock babyface, but put this rivalry to an end once and for all. Brock will not interact with Cody anymore. Brock will probably take a break. I more than likely think he will be back for the Royal Rumble, or Survivor Series. I don't know, one of the two. But and then I think Cody needs to rival with full-time talent. I would love to see maybe a Cody and Ciampa rivalry, Cody and Shinsuke. Next up, the Slim Jim Battle Royale. And of course, LA Knight ended up winning it. The Battle Royale was alright. Omos being the surprise. I was actually fairly happy with Omos being the surprise because I thought that the last time we saw Omos, we were impressed by him. The Battle Royale, it was not that fun of a watch. Omos tossed a lot of people. JD McDonough getting eliminated second was a bad call. I thought JD McDonough could have been a Final 5 participant. But LA Knight and Sheamus being the final two was written in the stars, wasn't it? It just, I really wish there was a surprise, like LA Knight and Grayson Waller being the final two instead of Sheamus and LA Knight. Like Sheamus and LA Knight being the final two just felt like lazy to me. Like LA Knight was gonna be in the final two, but Grayson Waller, Omos, Bronson Reed, something like that would have been a better final two. So Grayson Waller and Bronson Reed get on an elevated stage because the crowd's going to cheer LA Knight. So that person who's in the final two with LA Knight is going to get a big crowd reaction. Boos, but they still get a big crowd reaction. LA Knight won, which was great, but we all expected it. This was the LA Knight Battle Royale, Slim Jim after all. And of course, Slim Jim signed a $1 deal with WWE. But LA Knight winning is great. But I really hope that they think of something to give to LA Knight after winning instead of a Slim Jim commercial. They need to give LA Knight a championship opportunity. Next up, Shayna and Ronda. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Shayna's entrance was badass. Besides Shayna's entrance being one of my favorite of the night, this match just didn't hook with me. And I was hyped for this match because I love Shayna Baszler. I loved her in NXT. And I thought this MMA rules match would be something that Ronda could thrive by, but I was bored after 5 minutes, and I know a lot, and I know that but I did understand the match. Some people would say you don't understand the match. I watched the MMA. I am well aware how they run the MMA, but it's a whole different subject when you throw in a different company's stipulation into the WWE. WWE has its own thing, the MMA has its own thing, and if you throw one into the others, it doesn't mix well. And it didn't mix well. And I thought the best part of this was the end. Shayna winning. Maybe like 5% of me thought maybe they'd have Ronda win somehow and duke us of her leaving, but Shayna ended up winning here. Shayna passing Ronda out was a fitting ending, proving that we finally got the Shayna back that is willing to do anything to win. We're slowly creeping towards that NXT Shayna, most definitely. I think that's the goal. Shayna passed out Ronda, and now we're going to get the Shayna that can pass out anybody. And I think after this, we're going to start to see Shayna absolutely squash a bunch of people on Monday Night Raw, which is fitting because I really think that I think Shayna will get a women's title opportunity before the end of the year. That's my just prediction because Shayna Baszler deserves it. Her main roster run under Vince has been a disgrace. They just haven't booked her right at all. Shayna needs to be the solo person that goes ham, and I feel like we're getting closer towards that. So thank you, Triple H. And speaking of course, this is the Shayna Baszler that we all want on the main roster. But like I said, I wasn't a fan of it, and I hope that we don't get an MMA rules match again. Next up was the Intercontinental Championship match. Ludwig Kaiser's signature intro. This was a banger match. The chops and everything. Some people don't like this match, which, is weird to me, because I thought for the time that they got, Drew and Gunther just destroyed the hell out of each other. Some people are expecting high-flying maneuvers or something, but Drew and Gunther delivered a banger. I thought it was a masterclass. I thought it needed to be what it needed to be. Gunther kicked out of a Claymore and stuff like that. It was a good match. The crowd was fairly into it, and Gunther won, which we expected. I mean, everything that we thought it was gonna be, it was what it needed to be. I thought maybe it could have gone a little bit longer, but then you see how long this show actually was, and you're like, yeah, you know what? The length that it was kind of all right. But Gunther is definitely about to break the record, which he totally deserves. And Drew turning heel, I think, is imminent. Next up, Finn Balor and Seth Rollins. This was one of my more anticipated matches of the night, and Finn Balor. The entrances really got us kicked off. Finn Balor had 7 because It's been 7 years since Finn Balor suffered a shoulder injury against Seth Rollins, which completely derailed Finn Balor. What I thought was going to be an absolute crazy Finn Balor run, and Seth Rollins decided to play along too. He wore the same vest that he wore at SummerSlam 2016. However, the match was so good. The match was back and forth. Finn Balor almost won like 3 times. The 2.99 and a half kickouts. It's crazy. Like, I thought Seth Rollins was going to beat Finn Balor with a stomp. He didn't. I thought Finn Balor was going to win the World Heavyweight Championship twice and we were going to have a happy ending. But at the end of the day, Finn Balor failed again. Damian Priest came out, and I knew when Damian Priest came out, I honestly thought it was it. I thought when Damian Priest came out, it actually helped Finn Balor the right way. I thought it was said and done that Finn Balor was going to beat Seth Rollins. But Damian Priest it was a repeat of Money in the Bank, but in a longer sequence. Seth Rollins stomps Balor's head on the Money in the Bank contract, and that was a wrap. And Finn Balor and Damian Priest, they are enemies now. It doesn't matter what you really want to say. Damian Priest and Finn Balor are enemies now. There's no way that you're going to convince me that they're going to get back on the same page. They almost like broke up after Money in the Bank. And now after this, I think Damian Priest is probably going to turn babyface. And we're going to get a Finn Balor that is going to absolutely show no mercy. Which I think is the right call. But Finn Balor should have won. And this was one of my pet peeves. Finn Balor should have won tonight. I think the storyline, the missed out storyline of Finn Balor winning the World Heavyweight Championship and watching Damian Priest with the Money in the Bank, they missed out on that storyline. They really missed a good storyline there. And if I had to blame, it was a great match of the night because it was back and forth, but a missed opportunity on a storyline for sure. Next up, the Women's Triple Threat, another match that I was so looking forward to. Bianca promoting that C4 energy. Asuka coming out with brand new gear and a face paint. The match was really, really good. For some reason, the crowd wasn't into it. I mean, I don't know if the crowd was sleeping or the crowd wasn't into it, but I thought the match itself was really, really good. They did what they needed to do. But Bianca, I mean, the match was good. All the women got their offense in, but Bianca Belair, there was a moment in the match where Bianca was going high risk on the top rope, and Charlotte pushed Bianca, and Bianca hit the steel steps leg first, fell to the floor, and I seriously thought that now Bianca injured her leg. I swear to God, like, I thought she tore her Achilles or had a broken leg. Like, that fall was one of the nastiest falls I've seen all year long, But what happened afterwards is Bianca won. Bianca came back. I thought after this, Bianca was just going to be taken out. And I thought Asuka was just going to retain against Charlotte. But Bianca won. I mean, in a finish, even though I thought the finish was creative. Asuka hit Charlotte with the mist. And Bianca stole it. I thought that was a good finish. But peak happened afterwards. Iyo Sky ran a million miles per hour to cash in. She knew that Bianca was injured. Bianca won. Perfect situation to cash in. 1 moonsault, and in like a minute, Iyo Sky became the new women's champion. So good. I was one of those people that thought WWE was gonna screw her over with the cash in, but we don't need to worry anymore. Iyo Sky is on top of the women's division. She's on top of the women's world. She is the WWE Women's Champion. How fitting that she pins Bianca, the biggest enemy of Damage Control throughout their whole thing. Iyo Sky pins Bianca. I mean, give credit to Triple H. This whole situation, you could not booked it any better. But except he could. Because Dakota Kai came out of the crowd, I guess. Dakota Kai showed up. I was not expecting Dakota Kai to show up. I thought Dakota Kai was at home at Florida watching this. But Dakota Kai showed up. I was crying. I was crying from Iyo Sky winning. I mean, I was in a mountain of tears when Dakota Kai showed up. I couldn't even control my emotions. I didn't think a more perfect moment like this could exist, but it did. And Damage Control is on top of the world. After all the bad booking, Damage Control is on top of the world instantly. And the crowd absolutely loved it. I loved it too. This was a moment, this was one of my favorite SummerSlam moments ever, and I think it definitely topped the SummerSlam returns last year. Because not only Iyo Sky won the title, not only Dakota Kai had a moment, but Damage Control peaked. And hopefully, we continue. Hopefully, this is the start of Damage Control supremacy. After all those months of booking that made no sense, it's time that Damage Control gets booking that is good, and time that Damage Control gets booking dominantly. Now, I would talk about the main event. It was good. It was it is what it is. I thought Tribal Combat, you weren't supposed to be interfering. I mean, if Roman Reigns beat Jey Uso clean, I wouldn't have believed it. Yeah, totally Roman Reigns can pin Jey Uso clean. I mean, obviously the match was going to last long, which we expected because it's the main event of SummerSlam. But to see Jimmy betray... Well, I mean, we had the annual solo interference, which, I mean, you and your mom probably expected. But Jimmy screwing over Jey and turning on him makes no sense. This is what happens when you flesh out a storyline to the point where you do a dumb idea and you expect a storyline that's been going on for 3 years to save it. I know the fans were hyped there because the fans were hyped, obviously, because no one expected it. But at home, I was like, what the goddamn hell is going on? Roman Reigns retained after this, obviously, and I don't understand why this is happening. I mean, the Usos themselves said in an interview they would love to go one-on-one at WrestleMania versus each other, but I certainly hope that this doesn't get fleshed out to WrestleMania, or else this storyline is going to be in big trouble with the fans. But this ending of SummerSlam just didn't hook with me. Roman beating Jey clean after a banger matchup would have been the more satisfying conclusion, and you have all these months to tell the Solo and Jimmy storyline. You don't need to cram it all in one. Like, I didn't understand it, and I just think it would have been better if they just waited for Jimmy to show up. But that is pretty much my thoughts on SummerSlam. What do you guys think? I think Iyo Sky was the best moment of SummerSlam. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about SummerSlam, and I'll see you guys in the next video.